Very good. I brought in reinforcements today, which is nice. So I've been told only to start on time, so I'm a couple of minutes early. But just one little announcement, as I have the time, is for the interviews today, please keep it to 10 minutes, because we have a full schedule today, and try and keep it to talks about meditation or questions about meditation. If it's about your family, please know I've never been married. If it's about your children, I have never had kids. If it's about your business, I don't have any business. So if you can, try and just keep it to the meditation questions. And that's much more helpful. And also, because there's a lot of people putting their names down for the interviews, can we only have it at most like once every second day? Not every day. Otherwise, I'll just get worn out. I know that sometimes people think that if you're a monk, many of you come from a long distance, try and squeeze as much out of me as you possibly can. And I would always try to do my best, but there is obviously a limit. So if you want to have good talks in the evening, or question and answers, good talks in the morning, please look after me. Okay. And it's also good for those people, you put your names down at a certain time, and if you have to sit there waiting for 10 or 20 minutes because we go over time, it's not really fair on the people who are coming afterwards. Good. That's the interviews. Another 45 seconds to go. Another 30 seconds to go. Exciting, isn't it?
It's already wrong.
Not on this one.
According to me, you can start.
No, I've got to follow. This one is my guide. It's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going. Yeah, kick-off time. Excellent. So welcome to Saturday morning's talk on this 9-day retreat. I'm going to begin by talking something about the walking meditation. I promised that yesterday, and then go from there to the breath meditation. But first of all, the walking meditation. I hope many of you have tried the walking meditation. Go into either of these halls here, on the carpet. The reason I put the carpet there is because when we first had these halls open, there's always someone who decides to walk diagonally because that's a bit longer. So please don't do that. Just walk, just from the beginning to the end. It's long enough if you walk, comfortably and quite slowly. You can also do the walking meditation in other places around this facility. In some, I shouldn't really tell you this, but just like in front of here, hardly anyone uses this piece of veranda in front of the hall. You can use that one just to do walking meditation. Or any other place you can find a bit of quietness, a bit of solitude. Because the last thing you want when you're doing walking meditation is to be disturbed. Of course, we do have other people who do walking meditation here, which is the, I think they call them the Portuguese millipedes, which is, there's lots of them. So if you did want to, take the broom and the pan and just sweep them up gently so you don't harm them, but you just give them another place to go, that might be nice. And then you can have a nice clear path there to do your walking meditation. And so those are the places to do walking meditation. Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. Those are the places to do the walking meditation. And the length is not that important. I know in the forest tradition where I grew up that there's plenty of space. So we used to have walking meditation paths about 25 steps long. And that was about, quite nice. You can really get into it and then you turn around and walk back again. But here, because of the constraint of space, they're not that long. But nevertheless, they are long enough to do some nice meditation. You start at the beginning of the path. It's not a time for thinking about what question you're going to ask afterwards on the piece of the paper. This is just trying to keep the mind peaceful and quiet. To be able to do that peaceful and quietness, that mindfulness, we try to put our mindfulness on the movement of the legs, not on your breath, because if you are breathing, then you're not really noticing where you're going. You can be half on the breath, but what are you stepping on? Are you going a little bit too far on the walking meditation path? So we try and make sure we keep our attention on our feet and our lower legs. A good example, right now, how are your toes? Wiggle them, don't look at them, just wiggle them. Can you experience them? That's what we do when we're doing the walking meditation. We experience the sensation of the path on our feet. That's why, if at all possible, if you want to take off your socks while you're doing the walking meditation, it's much more enjoyable. You can feel more the sensation of the feet on the yoga mats. If you haven't washed your feet, then please keep your socks on. We don't want to asphyxiate the other people. But no, most people are okay there. So if you can take the socks off and do the walking meditation, you can put the socks on afterwards if you wish. But nevertheless, in the walking meditation, be able to feel the sensations on the feet. And also be able to, if you can right now, can you lift one of your legs? How did you do that? All the sensations, not just the choice, the will, but all the sensations just to lift your leg. And this is what you're doing when you're doing the walking meditation. You can start to experience the many different movements you have to do just to lift a leg, to start the one step. And as you're lifting that leg, does it go straight up? How does it move? And of course, I've been doing this meditation for a long time, so when I lift my leg to do walking meditation, it goes back a bit. And then when I move it forward, it doesn't go straight, it just goes in an arc. And then I put it down. And if you're going to do walking meditation, I'm going to ask you, which part of your foot leaves the ground first? Which leaves it last? What's the last part of the sole of your feet to lose contact with the floor when you're walking? And when you step down, what part of the foot touches the ground first? Simple bits of mindfulness. And that makes it interesting. You're being aware of something you've been doing for so many years, but now you're actually paying attention to it and feeling it. You're not making these steps unnatural. You are just walking and you are being observant of it, mindful of it. And it's because after a while there's so much to see in those walking of the movement of the legs. After a while it gets fascinating and it becomes slow naturally. I say slow naturally because you don't want to go slow, you don't want to go fast. I say this is not a competition. Some people have in their interviews told me that when they're doing walking meditation in those rooms and there's other people with them, sometimes it's like a competition. Who can walk slowest? You don't look at other people, you just be observant, of what's comfortable for you. And then when one step is finished, you can notice the attention go to the other leg. And you prepare, to transfer the weight of your body from one foot or one leg to the other leg, and that frees the second leg to also start moving up. What part of the other leg leaves the ground first? What leaves it last? Is it the same? Left leg and right leg? How does it move upwards? How does it move forward? How does it move down? So these are things which you start observing. At first you think, how boring is this? I can walk. What do I have to pay so much attention to it for? When you start focusing attention on simple things like that, and the mindfulness starts to increase, you know what happens? It gets delightful. Delightful walking. This is one of those phenomena which I emphasize, and mostly I emphasize this because I feel that other meditation teachers don't really emphasize this enough. The joy, the happiness, the interest. And once you start doing this, then you don't worry about how fast you're walking. You just, when you get to the end of the path, you realize I'm at the end of the path now, so you turn around. How do you turn around? Which foot moves first, and how does it move? Does it move up and then goes at an angle? So you become mindful of how you turn around. And then once you've turned around facing the way you came, then you walk slowly back again. So you keep as much awareness and mindfulness as you can. The restrained part of this is making sure you're in this moment. Because the wonderful thing about walking meditation, you end up where you started. You're not getting anywhere. You start at the beginning of the path, you go to the end, come back again. That's where you began. So you're not getting anywhere. It takes away some of this idea of attaining or getting rid of troubles and making more sort of enlightenment factors or whatever. Instead, we're just being in this moment. And if you can, be as silent as possible. You're experiencing, you're feeling, your legs. You're not giving a commentary about them. You don't say, left leg moving, left leg going up, left leg going up, left leg finishing going up, left leg going forward. That makes your brain tired. Why do you need a commentary? These are your legs. You're experiencing it. You should just know it. You don't need someone to tell you. Especially your brain doesn't need to tell you. You can feel it. And so you're getting the message here that for the deep meditations, we want to experience things rather than give words and comments and descriptions. I've often said descriptions are just never as close to reality as the experience itself. Sometimes we do have cartoons in the dining room. For some people are just very smart and very perceptive. And one of those cartoonists is this gentleman in Melbourne called Loonig. I think many of you may have seen his cartoons. They're very perceptive. And I remember one of his cartoons, just one page, or one sort of image. On the left-hand side of that cartoon was a family watching the television. And on the television there was a beautiful sunset. On the right-hand side of that cartoon there was an open window. No one was looking through it, where the sunset was actually happening. And that's all it did. It showed, why is it that many people would prefer to see a beautiful sunset on a TV where someone's talking about it, rather than just go and see it for yourself. And seeing it for yourself is much closer to reality and much more enjoyable. But anyhow, that's what we're doing When we're walking, we're not saying anything to ourselves, we're experiencing it. And the lovely thing about walking meditation, there's enough going on just in one step that you are totally satisfied. There's enough going on. You don't need to be distracted. And after a while, you just really get to focus. Not through force. The feelings in your legs walking draw you in. It's almost irresistible. And so this is where then we can start walking. We just get in these beautiful states. It's not full samadhi. I know that somebody once did ask, can you get into jhanas through walking meditation? And I always said no. It's just a little bit too active, too disturbing. But apparently I was wrong. Because one of the monks who lived in Thailand told me about this monk who used to get into jhana while walking meditation, and he used to have lots of bruises and cuts on his face as proof. Because if you get into jhanas, you lose perception of your body. You can't see, you can't hear, you can't feel the body, you can't smell, you can't taste. That's why he kept on. It's dangerous. And we don't have enough insurance in the BSWA to cover you for injury if you get into jhana while you're walking meditation, so please don't do that. But what you can do is to get into very, very close, beautiful, deep meditation. Not really jhanas yet, but it's still good. And the story I tell, because please excuse me for telling personal stories, but those are ones which I can trust the most. You experienced it, so you know exactly what was happening. And I should also mention that when you do get some really quiet meditations, we call them deep meditations, you can't forget them. This experience happened when I first ordained as a monk in Thailand. That's almost 48 years ago now. And I recall, because, again, I was a young monk, novice monk, I had lots of free time. So after doing a little ceremony, some chanting in the main hall in Bangkok, Wat Saket, I had an hour to do some walking meditation in the main hall. No one else was using it in the morning. And there was one really strange thing. In those big halls in Bangkok, everyone